You are looking live at the daily chart of the Nasdaq, which fell again today, 20 points or 0.12% on a 4% lower below the 50-day average daily volume. You can see the line there on the volume. The volume has been lower recently as we get into the spring here. The first quarter, it was kind of heavy, and now as we hit the second quarter, April, it's been pretty light. But after the first 3 months of the year, January, February, and March, with big gains, and Nasdaq has been giving it up here in April. And today it fell another 20 points. You could see right there, it's 1.3% below its 50 simple moving average. And you can see this magenta line, which is the 21, is now curling lower. The 10 is below the 21, and they both look like they're going to cross below the 50. I don't want to assume anything, but that's the direction they're heading unless something changes. And it might, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But after the 32% run here on the Nasdaq, you got to expect that it's going to give back more than 4% from October 26 to March 21. There's a 32% gain. Now we have a little bit of 4.5% pullback. Not the end of the world, but it's below the 50. And it looks like, well, I don't want to assume anything, but if things continue the way they are, even just going sideways or these small little losses, the power trend will turn off, which is, not the end of the world, but not ideal. But, we stepped on the gas here, made a lot of money. We just don't want to give it back now as, the market corrects. And I can't stress that enough. You make money in good times. You just don't want to lose a lot in when it corrects here. And depending upon what stocks you're in today, I'm going to get to this in a minute. You could have had a good day, but it might be whistling past the graveyard as the Nasdaq just continues to show weakness and has, I believe, more time and more price to correct here after that big move. But I'm still bullish, longer term. We got to get through this short-term turbulence. That's all. And we have earnings season coming up, and I'm, like I said, I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, yeah, I guess I'll talk about it right now because if you believe in this bull market and AI is the leader, artificial intelligence is leading this bull market, stocks like Microsoft and Meta and Amazon and Google and NVIDIA are going to have to hit grand slam home runs at their earnings reports because, that's pretty much what's expected. I think they will too. Maybe just home runs, maybe not grand slams. Or triples and doubles and home runs. But anyway, Microsoft pulled back to its 50 today, doing nothing wrong, just a lot of caution ahead of the earnings on the 25th. And, there's nothing wrong with consolidating here in this little flat base since I would say this date here. And I hope that's, what is this, February 9th. Okay, it was at 420 February 9th. 2 months later, it's essentially in the same spot. So kind of going sideways, consolidating these big gains that it had. There's nothing wrong with Microsoft. Meta Platforms, they report on the 24th, just, straddling that 500 number there. Yeah, it goes up a little bit, comes down below it, up. But what, like I said, if you believe like I do that earnings growth drives the price of the stock, then that they're going to have to deliver the earnings if they want their stock prices to go higher, and we do want them to go higher. And you could see the Facebook or Meta Platforms has been delivering the earnings, and that's why the stock has been ripping higher, and the expectations are for more of the same. So we'll see what they have to say here. What's today, 16th? Yeah, today is Tuesday the 16th. Thank you for watching. Amazon, same thing. They're it's gonna have to deliver strong earnings on the 25th. It's been grinding higher though, along with its moving averages. A little pullback the last couple of sessions, but Amazon looks fine as well. These stocks look fine considering the pullback in the Nasdaq. Alphabet, it pulled back. This thing probably should be on my ready list. They report on the 25th. That's a nice looking base there. A nice period of consolidation. And if we look at the weekly, it's got this earnings going north like we like to see. Consolidation, 3 weeks tight, and now it's inside this week. So, Alphabet looks fine. Let me see, NVIDIA. This one I have on my red list. I believe this thing's ready to move, but I got to look at the weekly here because last week you can see the tight base that it's in here, real tight trading. The low was 830.22, and if it took that out, I would not be interested. 906.13 is the high this week. 907.39 was the high last week. So it's just still inside this week, doing nothing wrong. Certainly would love to see it trade above that 907 level from this date right here, 907.39. But it's going to do what it wants to, and right now it's just consolidating right around its moving average. As you can see right there, it's just a tick below the 10 and the 21, which are converging here. So NVIDIA looks good to me, and just consolidating in a base. All right, so how come the index is going down? Well, Apple's dragging it down. Apple's a big kahuna, and it's just going lower, and same with Tesla. So this is not helping our Nasdaq or the indexes at all. Tesla, I believe, took out the 160.51 this morning as a gap lower. It did close, in the upper quarter of its daily range. Traded down to 153.75. Might want to test that 152.37. You might even say that was a test today, and we'll see where Tesla goes from there. See if this stock can find a bottom anywhere. Anyway, I'm going to move on because the most bullish thing that I've seen in a bit here is that the oil and gas stocks are starting to pull back a little bit. Oil maybe is stabilized at the level, and the stocks are starting to just pull back as you see some profit taking coming in. This is a good thing because I don't want to be a hater or anything because I owned oil stocks in 2022. It's inflationary, and for these things to be going parabolic, you're not going to have a sustained bull market with just oil just dominating like this. So for me, it's a real relief. It's a bullish sign. Yeah, they had a good run, but they're going to have some profit taking too, and that's fine. Everybody's got to eat, but they can't be dominant. They can't be dominant players. Permian is another one that I liked. It really made a nice run, pulled back to the 21, doing nothing wrong, just some profit taking. That's what happens. Looks a heck of a lot better than our friend SCCO, which is an oil and gas refiner. This one has crashed to its 50, crashed to its 200. I don't want to see that either, but I just don't want to see these things leading. I believe, our AI technology and cybersecurity, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Those stocks, those are more my style. And when the commodities are leading, it leads to trouble. This is the HF Sinclair DINO, DINO, and it's sliced. It's 50 today. So they're having some problems here. Matador is another one. I kind of like the setup. I was going to put it on my regular list, but I already had MRO. And I just thought, I don't want to have too many oil and gas stocks this week. I'm just playing it cautious. But yeah, it's good to see these things pull back. The miners as well, pulling back a little bit. I do have this one on my ready list. It came down to the 21 and found support. Close in the upper half of the daily range. But I don't want to see these things really ripping. I saw that silver and copper were down today, and so were the stocks. This is Freeport McMoran, didn't even come down to the 20 and closed near its highs. So that one looks fine. A little profit taking in Southern Copper. This one closed 85% of the daily range, pulled back near its 21. That one looks fine as well. And then Alcoa just going sideways, and it's getting support at the 10. So Alcoa looks good. Well, okay, so I'm talking about commodities. Coal was strong today. This is HCC, Warrior Met Coal. You can see it's in this base here, pulled back to its moving average and ripped through the 50 and made a nice strong move today of 8.6%. That looks good. And then AMR is another coal stock that just kind of consolidating here. But yeah, they've really sold off after making this high of 452, slicing the 50s. So you got to watch the commodities. I post them every morning at MC Stock Charts, and they do have an impact I don't like to trade them. I just want to keep my eye on them. Same with the digital currency markets, which I'm going to get to here in a minute. Coin, pull back to its 50. It filled this gap here at 206.39. So it traded below that today, 205.67. Then, it closed at 218. So it had a nice, close the gap, then bounce off the 50 and close it, the upper quartile of its daily range. That one, looks pretty good to me as well, even though the RS line went through the moving averages to the wrong side. But you got to fill gaps. They're not going to go straight up forever. And when they pull back, they provide opportunities. MSTR is another one. MicroStrategy, which has been one of the stronger stocks this year, just pulled back to its 50. So maybe that's providing an opportunity here. It's down 6% today. But yeah, those ones are, just in a little bit of a bear market. And, Bitcoin, they trade with Bitcoin and the digital currency markets, and it's a proxy for risk. And usually when the Nasdaq, has trouble, Bitcoin is, kind of leading it down, essentially. It'll also lead it up too. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the Amazons of Singapore and the Amazon of Korea. This is SE. Nice bounce off the 50 here. I guess there was news today. Jamie Dimon or somebody said some positive things about this, and it had a nice 7% move with big volume. So keep my eye on that one above the 50. That one looks pretty good. And the other one was CPNG, which broke out on Friday and continues to follow through, up nearly 4% today. So that thing looks fantastic. If you look on the weekly CPNG, there's your cup with handle pattern, and then the breakout last Friday, and it's following through. So definitely a strong stock. And then the ELF, we had strong retail sales yesterday. ELF is doing nothing though, just trying to find a bottom here. Looks to me like a base, like the last base that it had. I don't know if it'll be that prolonged of a base, but yeah, I mean, it ran up from 130 to 221. Now it's forming a base. So ELF still looks fine to me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I did talk about the cybersecurity stocks, and this, I don't know what's going on here. They are richly valued. Maybe companies are going to cut back spending on cybersecurity. I kind of doubt that. I don't know. Maybe it's just forming a base, got ahead of itself. But I mean, Zscaler was at 259 not long ago, February 9th, and now it's at 174, closed there today. Man, 6% below the 200. Where are you going, Zscaler? Anyway, Palo Alto Networks, another one, really weak, just hovering around the 200, trying to form this base here between 380 and 260. That's quite a consolidation area, quite a large consolidation area. But I'm keeping my eye on these. I like the group, but they're just out of favor right now. CrowdStrike traded below its 50. You can see it hovered it for a little while, and then oops, yeah. So yeah, hopefully we don't see that's the couple other stocks that I'm watching. And then Sentinel-1, I think it gapped down with earnings and continues to trade lower, and now it's down to the 200. So these cybersecurity stocks are weak, but maybe they'll form a base and find some love again. Datadog, this one's consolidating in a base. I like it above the 50. I don't like it below. Does that make any sense? Not really, because it doesn't know the line is there. It just today it closed what the 50 is 126.59, so it closed 126.95, right there. Datadog looks good to me, just consolidating in this space. Earnings are May 2nd, which believe it or not, is right around the corner. So I'm interested in hearing from Datadog. Another software name that I'm looking at is NTNX. And this one is consolidating in a base, doing nothing wrong, pulled back to the 50 here and pulled back to the 50 again. Pull back to the 50 here, pull back to the 50. Maybe it'll find support. Is up 2% today. Definitely one to watch. And a couple others in the software. And I'm just trying to see if Snowflake can find a bottom here somewhere. There's got to be a bottom here somewhere. And Elastic, same with this. I thought it was going to bottom here. Nope, wants to make another low. So you can't entertain stocks that are making lower lows. They just got to find price discovery. Where's the low? Where's the bottom? Maybe to come to the 200. I don't know, but I'm just watching them. That's all. Just observing the fish tank, as our friend Mike Webster likes to say. SMCI, this one we traded today, like, the raised guidance was leaked or something. It was up, what, 93 points, 10.6% up after hours. Just, traded below it closed below its 50, and I took it off the leading stock list because that's just policy. And then now I always keep my eye on stocks that move like this. Plus I have a small position in it, but man, what a move today with yeah, I mean, they had underwritten a secondary offering by Goldman Sachs, which I do not trust. It came down in 855, then rallied back up on an upgrade from JP Morgan, now has sold off below the 50. Today, like I say, it traded like a news leak there. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on SMCI in the data center space. The other one in data centers is Vertiv Holdings. This one just finding support at the 21. This is a thing of beauty here. Not seeing a lot of stocks like this right now that are just holding support at the 21. Every time it comes down, it gets support. They report earnings on the 24th. So what's today, 16th? So a week from tomorrow. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It's kind of consolidating in this little flat base area here. The 84.75, then it made another high of 86, and this high, the reversal day on the April 4th, 88.70. So just kind of consolidating in this little like a shelf type pattern. That one looks pretty good. Another one that looks good in the data center, I think it's a data center play, and that's Dell. Pull back to the 21. Obviously, it made this high here on March 1st when it was up 31%. That's a heck of a move. And then it sold off, pulled back to the 21, found support, and kind of made this cup with handle type pattern to pull back to the 21. Today found support. I like this one a lot. I like the pattern. And what I really like is the what is their earnings is only going sideways. But it is getting support here. You can see on the weekly, just a consolidation period. If, like I said, if the artificial intelligence thesis is going to play out over years, this is going to be one of the big winners. So, like I said, just like with NVIDIA or SMCI, if you buy it now and you come back 6 months later, you're probably going to be pretty happy. They just have to have a couple of earnings reports and prove, like Missouri, you got to show me, and they have to show out, right? All right. I'm going to get to a couple more things. One, I'm going to go to the downside. Pulte homes, obviously, rates are affecting these things. Slice the 50, don't like to see that. Maybe they're just going to form a base here. I don't know. Maybe Toll Brothers will come back to the 105 area and form, a base. There are big demand for homes in this country. Maybe it'll do something like this. We got to wait and see, but once again, once it's below the 50, you got to find out where they're going to bottom. DR Horton reports Thursday morning. It sliced its 50 again. Looks not so hot. And Dreamfinder, not too good. All right. The last thing before I get to my earnings is AMD. Looks like it's no man's land, trading down below its 50. Looks like it's heading towards the 200. Today, they announced a new products, pretty well received, up nearly 2%. As the index was down, AMD was up. That one looks pretty good. Broadcom, another semiconductor stock that I like, just had an inside day today. Looks fine, up 1.5%. Just consolidating sideways after these big moves. They're not going to go up forever. They have to consolidate. Speaking of which, ARM Holdings had this massive move. Now it's just going sideways. It's below its 50, which I don't like, but like we saw with SMCI, they can rally right through them in a hurry. If you take a look at the weekly chart on this one, you can see the big move and now consolidating, in like a flag type of pattern. So as long as it holds above that, the low of that week there. What is this here? I gotta get the 120. Okay, so yeah, it better hold above 120 or 121.38. So ARM Holdings is walking the tightrope, I would say, along that's 50. And the last one is ALAB. And I show this one every day because I like it. But it doesn't have a lot of trading history. As long as it holds, the lows, though, to me, that's the key. You don't want to see it making a low. And today it was up, what, man, 4.5%? Wow, nice move. But it's just, forming an IPO base. Definitely, the volume is obviously interest in this was heavy at the beginning, and now it's just kind of it's getting into a rhythm of a certain amount of volume and trading range throughout the day. So that's kind of what you want to see. So you have like an expectation of what the stock might do. Anyway, that's it for me, except for I lied. And one more thing, like I keep saying that earnings season is here. Earnings are what's going to drive your stocks higher. These companies have to deliver strong earnings. And I'm looking at tonight's earnings, and United Airlines hit a home run, and it's up 5.5% after hours. You can see it has pulled back. Seen some profit taking from that move from 33 to 48, and now it's back up to 43 and after hours. So we're going to watch that one tomorrow. And who else reported earnings tonight? Interactive Broker. That was a pretty good report. And what did they do? They increased their dividend, like really increased it by like 100% or more. Anyway, I'll have more on this in the morning. Pull back to the 50. With that report, I would think it would trade higher. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It's 8.2% off its high, which is not a long way to go, but pretty strong report. And then in the morning, you have to pay attention to ASML Holdings. This is going to move the semiconductor space tomorrow. I have a couple semiconductor stocks on my ready list. I think they're going to do well. I think it's going to drive the market higher, but I could be wrong. I'm often wrong, but never in doubt. And I just, we're just going to have to wait and see. Today it pulled back to its 50, had an inside day, and tomorrow they're going to report. They're from Denmark, so they report really early. I believe they're from Denmark. Anyway, they're going to drive the market, the semiconductor market tomorrow. So, which could have a profound effect on the Nasdaq as well. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.